everybody, it's Lisa Burningham. Are you ready to decorate your entryway for Christmas? Well, my foyer table might look luxurious, but I created this tablescape with a thrifted nativity, Target dollar spot clear ornaments, and a stunning pair of topiaries that incorporate Dollar Tree terrariums. Clear plastic ornaments are a perfect neutral backdrop to customize some pieces of Christmas decor. I found a package of 4 clear plastic ornaments at Target in the dollar spot for only $3, which makes them less than the Dollar Tree. That's a pretty good deal. I also got some craft paint. I chose a white craft paint and a gold craft paint. Any craft paint will do. I got these at Michael's, and you don't need anything fancy, so just get the most affordable one that you can find. It'll work for this project. I removed the metal cap from the ornament, and I squeezed in about a tablespoon of white paint, and then added the same amount of gold paint. I took a wooden skewer and swirled the paint around. Then I tilted the ornament and let the paint slowly slide down the sides of the ornament. Now, I got a little impatient waiting for the paint to slide around, so I thought, you know what, maybe if I shake it, I can still get that same effect, but just do it quicker. So I got a tissue and I plugged up the top of the ornament and I shook it really hard. Shaking the ornament actually softened the edges, so there wasn't a sharp defined line that divided the two colors, which gave me the marbled look I was trying to achieve. Once the entire ornament was coated in the paint, I flipped my ornament upside down and I placed it inside of a paper cup so that the excess paint could drain out. I continued the process of adding paint to each one of my ornaments. I swirled, twisted, and shook the paint, and it came up with just these beautiful, unique swirls and the marbling effect. It was so pretty. And then once I was done shaking them all, I did tip them upside down into those paper cups so that the excess paint could drain out. I let the paint dry overnight without the cap replaced because I wanted it to dry fully before I put the caps back on. Aren't these so pretty? Can you see that marbled effect on there? Oh boy. Now, you could leave them as is. These are just so pretty like this. I am going to add some embellishment to mine. Flip these around so you can see. I've got a snowflake on one, and I have the word Noel on the other. I created these on my Cricut design space. I printed them off, and then I just put them onto the front portion of my ornament. I did 4 of them, a couple snowflakes and a couple Christmas words. If you don't have a vinyl cutter, you can use some paint pens. If you remember a couple videos back, I took a cutting mat and I used some paint pens that I got at the Dollar Tree and Michael's, and I created a beautiful sign. So if you wanted to add some extra embellishment, paint pens will do the job. After I let the paint dry completely overnight, I put those caps back on. Not only do these ornaments add a custom touch to my tablescape, but they would be an affordable gift for neighbors, family, or friends for Christmas. I love decorating with nativities for Christmas. It's important for me to have a Christ-centered Christmas. Now, having said that, nativities can get really expensive, especially large ones. So we're gonna play a little game. I got this nativity at my local thrift store. It is 16 inches tall, pristine, brand new condition. How much do you think I paid for it? Okay, do you have a price in your mind? Well, the grand total was $14.99, which is a fantastic deal. So I took this, snatched it right up, brought it home, and I really wanted it to be the focal point to my foyer table. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to get a rectangular piece of styrofoam. Now you can get these styrofoam pieces at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. I actually already had mine and I've used it for different projects, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it over to the bottom side and I'll have a blank slate to work with. Now I'm going to add some arches to my display. I got these gold branches at Michael's. They were $9.99. However, on the day that I went, it was 40% off, so that brought the price down significantly. I took my branches and I trimmed them to the size that I wanted, and then I took the branches and I placed them in the back corners of my foam rectangle. I put one on one side and one on the other. Then I took those two branches and I kind of brought them together and I intertwined the branches so that they would stay in place. And it formed kind of a Gothic arch that I really loved, pointed at the top, and it just really highlights the nativity that's going to be placed underneath. To my foam rectangle, I'm also going to add some greenery. I bought this greenery at the Dollar Tree and I snipped it into about 1 foot long segments, and I put it on my styrofoam rectangle with some floral pins. I also got a string of battery operated lights and I put those right over the top of the greenery, and I secured them again to the floral foam with some of those floral pins. I also added some ribbons, some gold and copper ribbons. They are so pretty and it really brings in that color scheme that I'm going for. I have some gorgeous poinsettias in gold and cream. I added some Dollar Tree ornaments, as well as a few gold berries, some pine cones, and seed pods. Finally, I placed my nativity directly in the center of my scene. This was such an easy project. You could recreate this look with any size nativity, swap out my color scheme for yours, and you'd have an elegant Christmas display. My video today is part of the DIY Christmas Challenge that is hosted by Heidi from Heidi Sonboul DIY. Heidi has some great Christmas DIY decorations on her channel. Be sure to check her channel out, as well as the playlist. There's going to be some great Christmas inspiration on that. I'll leave a link to Heidi's channel as well as the playlist in my description box. Christmas is the time of year where you can decorate on a grand scale, and that's what I did when I created these massive topiaries. I started off with a foam ball. You can buy these at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or even Walmart. They are large ones and they can get a little pricey, but make sure that you use a coupon or go on a day where they're on sale and you can bring the price down. To this topiary, I'm going to cover it in the Dollar Tree garland. I cut them into about 1 foot segments and I attached them to the ball and secured them in place using the floral pins. We're going to be using floral pins a lot in the making of these topiaries. Now, you can buy floral pins at pretty much any store that has florals. You can get a bag, they're just a couple of dollars, and they will really help out with this project. To my topiaries, I also added some copper bows. I created my bows and layered them on top of each other. I pressed a floral pin into the center of the bow and then poked it into the styrofoam. I added a white poinsettia to the center of the bow. I simply poked it into the foam. Next, I added some gold ornaments. I purchased a variety of these ornaments at the Dollar Tree in different sheens and sparkles. And I should mention that all of the ornaments that I'm using in this project are plastic. I didn't want to use glass because if they by chance fall, I don't want to have glass shattered all over the place. So I would suggest using the plastic ornaments for these projects. So I took these plastic Dollar Tree ornaments and I put them onto a floral pin. I added 3 ornaments per pin and then I poked them into place. I also added some gold berries and a few pinecone picks. At this point, I just went to town with these decorations and covered the entire styrofoam ball. The extra glow that a twinkle light or some candlelight brings to a display is just magical, especially during this time of year. So I wanted to bring in some ambient lighting, and I'm going to do that with a few battery operated candles that I'm going to put inside of some Dollar Tree terrariums. To hang my terrariums, I'm going to use some fishing line. I threaded the fishing line through the topper and tied it into a knot. I tied the other end of the fishing line around a floral pin and then added the candle to the terrarium. I poked the floral pin into the styrofoam ball, which held the terrarium in place. I added 3 terrariums per topiary. I had some leftover gold beaded garland I purchased at Walmart. I cut the garland into various lengths. Then I took a floral pin and I placed it in between the beads, and then I pressed it right into the styrofoam ball for another beautiful hanging element. The final touch is to add some gold gem ornaments. I got these ornaments at Target. They were only $3. And again, I threaded the fishing line through the ornament, tied it into a knot, tied a floral pin on the opposite end of the fishing line, and then added the gold gems at differing heights in between the terrariums for some additional sparkle and detail. I placed my topiaries on top of some large glass vases, which elevates these topiary balls and makes them grand. Now you could, of course, do this on a much smaller scale. You could get some Dollar Tree vases and some smaller styrofoam balls and make some small topiaries and put them on a tablescape. It would be very beautiful that way. You could also switch out my color scheme again for your color scheme. Oh, and for those of you that are nervous about these falling over, don't worry. I added some clear packing tape to the bottom of the vase and I taped it to the table, so by chance somebody should knock into the table, the vases won't go toppling over. I've got you covered on that. Well, I am just thrilled with the way that this foyer table ended up looking. It has a grand, elegant feel while keeping the cost down. Make sure you check out those local thrift stores. You never know what you're going to be able to find. Take some Dollar Tree items and transform them into beautiful accent pieces, and take those inexpensive clear ornaments and transform them with a little craft paint into custom pieces of Christmas decor. I hope you enjoyed making these projects with me today, and I hope you got some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching.